What's going on, guys? Gino checking back here for another video today, and in this video I would like to bring you guys through my pull workout. Now I'm going to be shining a light on the informative side of things, talking about the anatomy, biomechanics, exercise selection and which muscles are actually targeted with each certain exercise. Now the split that I'm currently running is push, pull, legs, off day, upper body, lower body and an off day. So it's a mix between push-pull legs and upper lower. Now I'm going to be making an informative video on each and every individual workout from my current split, but this video will purely focus on the pull day. Alright, so without further ado, cue the information. Alright, to give adequate perspective on what I'm going to cover in this video, I'd like to briefly go over the anatomy of the back. Now the back is combined out of multiple muscles, but for the sake of keeping this video focused around the subject of hitting your back properly, I'll primarily focus on the biggest and the most important muscles of the back. Now there are two major muscles, the latissimus dorsi, which is responsible for extension, adduction, transverse extension, or also known as horizontal abduction, flexion from an extended position, and medial or internal rotation of the shoulder joint. It also has a synergistic role in extension and lateral flexion of the lumbar spine. Now the other major muscle is the trapezius. Now the trapezius has three functional parts: an upper, which elevates the scapula, a middle, which retracts the scapula, and a lower part of the traps, which medially rotates and depresses the scapula. And then there's another smaller muscle, which are the rhomboids. Now it's combined out of the rhomboid minor and rhomboid major, and both aid in scapular retraction. Alright, so the workout will consist of 8 exercises, from which 5 exercises fully focused on the back musculature, 1 on the rear deltoid and 2 on the biceps. Alright, so the first exercise I primarily start my pull workouts with is the machine lat pulldown. Now you might be wondering why I'm not choosing for pull-ups as my first exercise, but in my personal experience I tend to stray away from it eventually, most likely because I like the contraction of a machine pull better. You know, as long as you're progressing on the exercise you're most comfortable with, it's all suitable for growth. And the biggest difference between pull-ups and pull-downs is the added bicep activation with pull-ups. Now it's been shown that leaning back slightly from a upright 100-degree angle to a 135-degree angle yields more lat activation. Now while some may consider this as cheating, it's obvious that it should be performed without using momentum. Now a quick tip for this exercise and all other back exercises in general is to think of your arms as hooks. You know, try to mimic that your hand is hooked onto the machine and pull with your elbows to minimize bicep activation and maximize lat activation. Now in terms of grip, I'd say pick a just outside of shoulder width grip. This is to minimize biceps activation and maximize lat activation. 4 sets of 12 reps with a relatively heavy weight to start off the workout with and to promote some overload on the back. So exercise number 2 is the Dumbbell Row. Now contrary to popular belief, it's not just a trapezius focused exercise. Now this is either a lat focused exercise or a trapezius focused exercise. You can kind of tweak this exercise to make it lat focused by putting the weight more towards your lower abdominal area, in which you primarily perform shoulder extension. And to make it more trapezius focused, focus on putting the weight towards your upper abdominal area, performing scapular protraction at the bottom of the movement and scapular retraction at the top of the movement. This activates the trapezius to a greater extent. Now again, since we're fresh into the workout, 4 sets of 12 reps with a moderately heavy weight as long as form will stay intact. Alright, the next exercise is a one-arm lat pulldown. Now I'm a great fan of doing some unilateral work, as well as with the dumbbell rows. Now with this exercise I'm trying to focus on keeping a good squeeze and slowly stretching my lats out. Now since the workout started out with 2 heavier exercises, I'm now trying to control the weight a bit more and properly contract my back. Now doing some unilateral work on your exercises is also great for fixing any muscle imbalances or just simply focusing on one lat or trap muscle at a time. 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps with a moderate load while focusing on controlling the movement. Alright, now exercise number 4 is the wide grip row. Now this is an exercise I don't see too many people do. While it's a quite good exercise to stimulate the mid and upper trap area along with the rhomboids. Now again, to put more emphasis on the traps, focus on utilizing scapular protraction and retraction while controlling the weight. It's not advised to protract and retract the scapula while using very heavy loads, since that can be pretty injury sensitive. Now pull the handle towards your sternum to keep the focus on the traps, since pulling it lower will turn the exercise into shoulder extension focused, which will put more emphasis on the lats. 3 sets of 12 reps with a moderate weight to control the movement. Alright, and to finish off some last back muscle fibers, I like to perform cable pullovers. Now this exercise is great in terms of isolating the lats, since it literally purely focuses on extending the shoulder going in line with the lats. I feel it's one of those exercises that allows you to stimulate every last fiber from your back after the standard pulling movements. Now you can kind of compare it to doing flies after your bench press and dumbbell press. It's simply to add some more volume onto your muscles and focus on stretching and contracting without going overly heavy on the exercise. Now I like to lean a bit forward into the movement, since I find that it allows me to get a full stretch on my lats. Now what I see a lot of people doing wrong here is turning it into half a tricep extension and half of a pullover. Now to fix this, focus on keeping your arms slightly bent, so not fully extended, which will yield more tricep activation, but slightly bent, and pull the rope towards your lower abdominal area. Keep your arms in the same positioning while focusing on pulling with your elbows. Now this keeps both tricep and bicep activation out of the equation. 3 sets of 15 reps with a moderately light weight. And then to pack up some volume on the rear delts, since this is a pull day, I threw in some rear delt flies. Now again, I like to perform some exercises unilaterally from time to time, and the same goes for the rear delt flies. Now by focusing on one rear delt at a time, I can really put my mind to squeezing the muscle fully. Now to minimize back activation on this exercise, since the goal is to activate as much of the rear delt as possible, keep your shoulders or your scapula protracted. By going into retraction at the concentric part of the movement, you will start activating the back muscles, which isn't the goal with this exercise. Now you can achieve this by, for example, leaning slightly forward, as in not fully upright, to get that sort of hunched over positioning. Keep your arms slightly bent and in that same positioning during the entire duration of the exercise. 4 sets of 15 reps with a light weight to control the movement to its full potential. The first bicep exercise of the workout are Bayesian cable curls. Now the Bayesian cable curl will allow you to have your shoulder in a constant stretched position, meaning the only movement necessary is flexion of the arm with the biceps. Now by standing away from the cable station, your biceps will be fully stretched out but still under tension. Now on this particular pull day I performed 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps, while on my other pull day of the week I tend to perform heavier barbell curls in the 6 to 10 rep range. Now some might argue to keep biceps excluded from pull days and put them on, for example, a push day, since they will be less taxed. But to be completely fair from a logical standpoint, if you're using proper form on your pulling exercises, your biceps shouldn't be taxed too much. So before judging on that all, fix your form and then judge if your biceps are more or less taxed to put them on a pull day, yes or no. Alright, and then last but not least, the last exercise of the pull day is the hammer curl. Now this exercise mostly stimulates the brachialis muscle, which is on the side of your bicep in between your biceps and your triceps. Now by training this muscle, your arms will appear more thick from the side, thus creating a more full look to your biceps. Now be sure to keep your arms in a neutral grip to keep the tension on that muscle and not turning it into a standard supinating curl. 3 to 4 sets of 12 to 15 reps. Alright, and that is all for this video guys. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to smash the like button because it really helps out the channel grow. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I will make an informative video on each and every individual day for my current workout split. Alright, comment down below, subscribe to the channel for so much more content coming really soon. I'm out guys, and peace out. See you in the next one.